Namaste once again. Myself, I'm Dr. Sanjana. Let's continue our work towards on nutrition with a prayer to Lord Dhanvantari. Namami Dhanvantarin Adidevam Surasurevantida Padapatmam Loke Chararubhaya Mrityunasham Dadharabhisham Vividasharinam. Thank you. Hope all of you had a wonderful day, and I also had a wonderful day. And so good morning. Yesterday we have gone through the importance of nutrition and why it is so much of important. Why Agni, the digestive fire, and following the rules of eating is very much important to improve your nutrition. That we have learned that. So now we were talking about the importance of 6 tastes in Ayurveda and how it is affecting your digestion. That's what we were talking about. Okay. So we have so far covered about the 2 tastes like bitter and pungent yesterday. And now we are going to discuss about the remaining tastes like other 4 of them. Okay. So when we are talking about the taste, like most of us has tasted all these things, no? And most of us has some favorite taste of our own also. When you have this favoritism, what happens means you are going undernourished because you are selectively taking only certain kind of taste, and there are possibilities that it can make you sick after a longer period of time. So that's why in olden times, not in olden times, my grandmother and my mother and all used to tell me, because I am a person who loves to eat sour and salt a lot. So it was a habit for me from childhood to take all those things. Even if my mom resists to take this, I usually take this thing, steal these things from my kitchen with all her knowledge, and I try to eat it with my friends. Like that same with pickles and tamarinds and all these things we used to have it. So what happens? Whenever she finds out, she used to tell me, see, don't take it, this is not good for your health, and this may create skin issues later. At that point of time, I was thinking, how it can create, how eating of all these things is going to affect my skin. My skin is perfect and very good. I know how to manage. I'm washing my face twice daily with a face wash, and I'm drinking water. I'm quite good. But I'm not aware about all these aspects at that time. But later, when I attained 15 to 16 years of age, slowly the breakouts started to come on my face. Then I told, my mom just reminded me, see, this is what I told you, right? This is what happens because you never heard me, now you have to suffer. And I just told her, so this is normally happens with every woman, every girl when she attains her age, it happens, and this is very much common, and you don't know, this is all hormone related things. Okay, she said, it's fine, let's see. Then I turned 16, I turned 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. So I was in my college, almost I finished my college, and my face was like full of breakouts. And I was like, I finally understood that it's no more, it's hormonal, it's out of track. I have tried doing so many creams, changed so many soaps, some persons told this is because of dandruff. So I changed so many shampoos, hair oils. What not, I would try whoever has suggested me something, I was going along with that, and I have tried almost everything of that. Okay, and finally I understood nothing works. And one day, and especially we learn about all these things in the second year of that means the third crop of BMS, that means Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine. They used to taught us about this nutrition in Swasthavatam. And also, then also I didn't get a proper idea. Okay, sorry. And then in the final year, when we started to learn about the disease and the pathogenesis and the importance of digestion and the importance of the role of digestive fire in that, when they started to when I started to learn about all these things, I started to slowly make a sense of what is happening. So then I started to relate these things. Oh, so this soreness, what is happening? This soreness is increasing my pitta and vata. At that age, I was not recognizing it. It was an initial stage because I was regularly eating curd and pickle and some non-veg items along with that. It was completely contradictory food, okay, which is called as Viruddha Ahara, that will be dealing with us in the later phase. Okay, so that was my regular food habit. It's not that once in a while I'm taking that, but unfortunately it was a daily food habit and it was slowly building that amma inside my body and it was manifesting slowly under my skin, which was unknown to me. And at a certain point of time, when I attained certain age, when I reached the Pitta Kala, all these things has manifested like all of a sudden. And what I have done, without knowing the root cause of this problem, right? Without knowing that, oh, my stomach is a reason for all these things because of the improper digestion, I was completely unaware about that, and not even nobody told me about that. What I was doing, I was taking so many medications to suppress my estrogen, progesterone things, and also I was applying certain topical creams to give like temporary reliefs. So, but still this habit was continuing. Still I was continuing eating this curd and rice quite often. Even for dinner, I love to eat that. So that was continuing still. So then only I started to realize, oh, when I saw taking class, suddenly one light came on my like popped up, and then I thought like, oh, this is what happening. Oh, now I have to see what I can do. Then slowly stopped that intake, slowly reduced, like taking the sour things, and that means food and curd things. I slowly, instead of curd, what I can take. Then I searched and I found out, oh, buttermilk is a good option. So I started to take buttermilk and I completely avoided taking sour items, and also like when we are in college, like it's a sugar cut. So also try to avoid sweet oats. And like surprisingly, after a month or two, without any topical application, my pimples and everything started to come down. And I can see there was a brightness in my face. Even the darkish, that means the spots of the pimple spots also started to slowly fade off without doing anything. That was surprising me. Without doing anything, I was just taking care of my stomach. Rest everything body was taking care, and my laziness also reduced, and the kind of a mood, irritating mood was there. I thought it was because of my college days or exam stress or whatever it is, but everything changed. In every aspect, I got a relief from all those that. So I myself found out that, see, correcting the digestion or correcting your digestive fire is a solution for all kind of illness. So when I started to doing practice also, that was the only principle I kept in my mind. See, this is where it happens. This is where it begins. So when we treat that, everything will be corrected. And until now, touch wood, that was the principle I'm following. It may be different kinds of condition, but the beginning stage is this is what we do. And later on, wherever the support is needed for the body, that we are giving, but it's not, basically this has to be corrected. And how this has to be corrected? Like in that sense, these results are also playing an important role. So when it comes to astringent taste means kashaya rasa. Okay, so kashaya rasa in the sense it has like which all the food items are having this kashaya essence, like all legumes, including this all lentils, legumes, beans, peas, have this astringent qualities, right? So these days, what happens with the doshas? This decreases the kapha and pitta, okay, and increases the vata. What happens? It decreases the kapha, K and P, decreases kapha and pitta, and increases the vata. So which all conditions we can advise a patient to take these kind of food items, or which all conditions we can ask them to increase the quantity of these foods in your diet. It's not that we have to take only this, but when we nutrition vegetables think that protein, you take 40% of protein, then 20% of carbs, and like this much of fat. Instead of telling like that, we can say you take like 20% of astringent taste and like 10% of pungent and 10% of like bitter, So in that way, we have to recommend the people. Okay, in that way, they have to think and they have to cook and they have to prepare their meals. So it is Kapha and Pitta. So whoever it is Pitta dominant or Pitta is the problem causing dosha in their system, then we can advise this kind of taste will be better for them. Okay. And it also increases the vada. So if it was taken in an excess quantity, there is always a possibility that their vada can get aggravated and cause problems. So always we have to advise to be taken it in the moderation. So the next taste comes as salt. Okay, salt is almost everyone's favorite. There are persons I have seen that sugar cut, but there is no salt cut for anyone. The same effect of sugar the salt also does in the body, because most of the people are unaware about that. They used to continue it. Okay, only have seen people with hypertension is reducing salt, but I don't know why. But pitta is directly related to this salt. So if you take excess salt and excess salt, pitta shoots up. So when you have a moderation in this, it's always balanced. And nowadays I'm hearing that, oh, I'm taking Himalayan salt or pink salt, so I don't have any problem. I can put it wherever I want. This is a wrong concept. Salt is a salt. Okay, either it is potassium chloride or it is sodium chloride. The salt is salt only, and the taste of that salt the effect that bring into your system is almost the same. So always use salt in a moderation, not in excess and not in a minimum quantity, like all other taste. Okay. So like salt, basically we all know it's found from the mountains and also from the sea, and the taste is like divided into all substance which we add salt. So the salty taste increases kapha and pitta but decreases the vata. So what happens here? Salt increases the kapha because it increases the water content in the body. In that way, it increases the kapha and also the fire, the pitta, and decreases the vata. So that's why whenever it says that it decreases the vata, if you have any pain or something, don't relate it that to vata and take excess of salt. It not work in that state. It can increase the dryness and it can increase the pitta and also the pain will get increased. So in which way it helpful means, while we are doing basti and all, the enemas and all, we always add little bit of salt to the mixture of that enema. Either if it is an oil basti also, we will add little bit of salt and mix the oil basti. If it is a kashaya basti, if it is a basti with a decoction also, we do the same. Like we'll mix the salt with the decoction and we'll be preparing that. So when we do that, what happens? It helps to balance the vata. Okay, there is always a possibility that after an enema, the vata can get aggravated. So in order to balance this vata, we are adding this salt into the system, and also it helps for the better assimilation of the this combination into the system immediately. The honey and salt do have a certain property like that. So this is kapha and pitta increasing and vata decreasing. The earlier one was vata increasing. The next one comes as vata decreasing. Okay. So the next taste comes the sour taste. Okay, the sour taste is also almost everyone's favorite, and so it is found in, of course, lemons, lime, vinegar, cheese, plums, and tamarind, and all kind of sour fruits and things most of us know, and when you taste it, you will be able to know. So the sour taste increases the kapha and pitta, and the same like decreases vata. Salt and sour has the similar qualities. That's why when it is used, it is directly increasing the pitta and also decreasing the vata. Okay, so these things are have to be used how I can say. Use your common sense, like when you are advising someone to take this taste, not only for reducing the vata, because since it increases other two doshas, it has to be very carefully administered or advised to a patient. Okay. Next one and the final taste is sweet taste, the sweet taste. is found in, of course, honey, sugar, jaggery, rice, milk, cream, butter, wheat, of course, like all kind of breads and everything. And we all know which taste will be also. So the sweet taste will aggravate which doshas. What do you think? Yes? Yes, it is right. It's like sweet taste is increasing kapha dosha. But what happens is decreases the pitta and vata. So until now we have seen things which is increasing the vata and pitta. Now sweet is helping to decrease pitta and vata, but it is also increasing the kapha. So now we are when we are living in a world where sugar cut is a very common scenario now everybody is practicing, then we have to think what you are doing. When you completely cut sugar, do you think that your pitta and vata will be hyper? Because you are not at all eating that taste to balance this. When you completely cut this from your diet, what happens? Your pitta vata get aggravates. But people think sugar only has sweets and the sweetening things that we add in the tea or coffee. And but they don't realize that all this milk, butter, wheat and bread are considered as sugar content. So that way it is fine only. If we completely avoid all these carbs and sugar, then definitely there will be an increase in the dryness and increase in the pitta dosha, and you will be having diseases which is you can manifest a disease because of this problem, sir. So completely avoiding a taste from your diet is not at all recommended. Okay, you have to take every taste in a moderate quantity in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So these are the 6 tastes. You can go through it, and during on which dosha it is acting, you have to link. And whenever you are eating, try to taste all the 6 tastes and try to find it out which one is good for you, like which one will be which is much more suitable for you, and try to change your diet accordingly. Try to include all these 6 tastes in the food at least one time a day, one meal per day. So when you make these changes, it will be really good. Different foods cause specific doshas either to increase or decrease. Okay, so each taste has qualities associated with it, and that will either increase or decrease the doshas. As an example, sweet is heavy, and sour is moist, salt is warm, bitter is cold, and pungent is hot, and astringent makes it very dry. So the two fundamental principles like Ayurveda are like increases the like, and the opposite creates a balance. So something which is like increases its quantity, and the opposite creates a balance. So food with the qualities that are similar to a dosha will increase that dosha. That means sourness can increase pitta dosha, saltiness can increase pitta dosha, astringent can increase the vata dosha. So like that, these similar qualities can increase a similar dosha. And the foods that with attributes like that are unlike a dosha will decrease or pacify that dosha. Thereby, that means like if you are having a pitta predominant thing, you have to add little bit of sweetness or into your diet. That will help to balance your pitta. You have to add a little bit of bitterness into your diet. That will also help to balance your pitta. So these balance you have to create. So thereby keeping the dosha in balance, the taste and the qualities that balance the vata are very sweet, sour and salty, warm, heavy and moist kind of foods. Okay. The taste and qualities that balances pitta are basically sweet, bitter, astringent, something which is cool and slightly heavy kind of things. The taste and qualities that balances the kapha are pungent, bitter, astringent and light, warm and dry kind of food items is mostly advised for kapha kind of people. Okay. So during the times of vigati, and so whenever you have a disease condition or an imbalance, the diet can be used to either decrease or increase the 3 doshas until a balance is restored. Okay, how it works. The dosha balancing effect of a food is determined by its taste: salty, sour, sweet, bitter, astringent or pungent, and its other qualities like either it is heavy, oily, dry, cold, light, like that. These qualities also decide. So Vata, Pitta and Kapha are related to body prakriti. In Ayurveda, the guidelines have been given for 10 food categories, that is fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes. Fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, dry fruits, seeds, sweeteners, condiments, dairy, and oils. We can describe specific food articles from these categories in the modern parlance to facilitate their use in lifestyle disorders and further categorizes them based on their effect on doshas. Okay. So first we will discuss about the fruits. And the dosha is Vata, which are the Vata specifying diet. Which are all the foods will be. This is the main part of our presentation. Which are all the food is beneficial for Vata specifying. Everything that is sweet, which is helpful for specifying the Vata. Like apricots, avocados, bananas, berries, cherries, coconut, fresh figs, grapefruit, grapes, lemon, mango, melons, orange, yeah, and papaya, peaches, pineapple, plums, and all. So these are all the balancing of food. Like specifying means either it keeps it in a balance or also it helps to alleviate that. Means helps to alleviate the Vata. So what happens with the Vata aggravating diet? Okay. What are the things which normally aggravate the Vata? Something which is that we are very fond of, like everything that is dried. Nowadays we can easily available dried fruits, dried veggies, of course roasted nuts. Everything is like everyone's favorite, and it do have more shelf life period than the fresh ones, and people just opt for it thinking that it is really beneficial for them. But it is all rather aggravating in nature, and it is going to create a bloatingness, indigestion, and also headaches and improper sleep as it is, like so on. So the dried fruits, apples, cranberries, pears, and persimmon, sorry, and pomegranate, watermelon. All these things are dry kind of foods. Even the watermelon is a watery thing. It increases vata and pitta because of its nature. Okay. And next we will discuss about the pitta dosha. Okay, what are the things? We will be specifying the pitta. Pitta means heat. Okay, heat. Thing it's oily, heat, heavy. These things like pittam, satsneha, tishnoshnam, laguvishram, saram, dravam. These are the qualities. Satsneha, which is having a anxious quality. Tishnam, that means penetrating. Ushnam, hot. Pittam, satsneha, tishnoshnam, laguvishram, saram, which is light. Wisdom, that which is flowing, and the saram, and heavy. Saram, dravam, which is liquid. So something which is opposite to these qualities will be specifying that. So sweet fruits, apples, avocado, like most likely like of vada, figs, grapes, mango, melons. Mango not actually. The unripe mango increases the pitta only. Ripened mangoes, sweet mangoes are good to reduce the pitta. And plants which are sweet and everything which is sweet in taste. Okay, the sourness, if it is there, it can increase the pitta. And the pomegranate, prunes, raisins are very good to balance the pitta. And next one is which are all the diet that will be increasing the pitta. What is the pitta? Aggravating diet. Okay. Which are all the pitta aggravating diet? All the sour and salty foods are. Salty foods is not naturally. Everything which is salted, that is pitta aggravating only. And all kind of sour fruits. Apricots, berries, sour bananas, cranberries, like strawberry and grapefruit, the green grapes, all lemons, oranges, papaya, peaches, and sour pineapples, plums, etc. are like very sour taste and considered to be increasing the pitta. Okay, so these things considered to be all pitta aggravating factors, and when you have a habit of taking this in a regular basis, see, so this is like all these teas are not supposed to be saying that, oh, this is going to happen in this way, right? So what is happening that if you take it on a regular basis, if you are a habit of taking, like nowadays all the people are like very much fond of taking the lemon drink in the morning mixed with the ginger as well as honey. So when you make this as a regular habit, when you mix this and take this early morning, make this habit, when you follow it more than a 15 days of time, what happens, it can affect your system and it can manifest a disease. But this is not the concept that if you're taking a mango for one day, if you're taking a banana for one day, oh, this is going to increase shoot my pitta. This is a wrong concept. So whatever you can take it in a moderation, and once in a while everything is fine. If you make it as a habit, it is not fine. Okay. So the next one is kapha dosha. Kapha dosha means initially we'll go with the kapha specifying, right? Kapha, it's always selectional sandra sthira kapha, something which is moving, something which is heavy, and something which is unctuous. We all have a thought, like imagination of how kapha it will be. It's like thick, heavy fluids like a milk or any other liquids. It comes in that way. So like kapha pacifying diet, which normally comes like apricots, berries, and figs, with basically dry figs, peaches, pears, and pomegranate and prunes. Raisins are good, and even if you have so much of increased kapha, that was a very rare condition. Only the plain kapha, always the people will have the combination of doshas whenever there is an aggravation in the body, right? Like either it is pitta kapha, pitta vada. So we need to be very carefully, we need to balance that. But in a very, very rare condition, maybe I have not seen that rare condition, only if there is a kapha dominant condition, if only the aggravated kapha is causing the problem in the patient's body. In certain cases, you can use this, like all the dried fruits, dried veggies and all, this will work in this condition. Okay, not really like before. Because here they need something which is very dry, because already their body is filled with excess of phlegm or excess of kapha, so they need dryness. So all these things in a dried form will be little bit more helpful than in the fresh form. But it is a very rare condition, so you don't have to think much about it. So next is something which is aggravating this diet. Okay. Basically, think bananas and increased coconut intake, and melons, plums, papaya, everything is, and more of increased intake of milk, cheese, and yogurt. Everything is kapha aggravating nature. And the taste is like in carbs, like all kind of rice, grains, wheat. All these things are basically kapha aggravating in nature. In the next class, I will give you more idea of like, we are just talking about the fruits now. Next class we'll be talking more about the vegetables and all. Sorry, I initially forgot that we are only talking about the fruits. I have given you so many examples of other things also. And means when we continue the session, we'll have more detail, and maybe I'll be repeating the same thing. Sorry for that. So these are the fruits, like basically kapha aggravating, coconut, grapefruit, and melons and everything is kapha aggravating in nature only. Okay, so the next one is like vegetables, Shaga Varga. What all the vegetables which will be specifying Vada, that are like cooked vegetables. Basically, cooked vegetables are rather specifying in nature. Everything that is cooked is good, specifying all the three doshas. And beets, carrots, cucumber, garlic, green beans, okra which is cooked, and everything which is cooked. We are not talking about anything which is uncooked, everything is cooked only. And zucchini, everything is vada pacifying in nature. And all the watery vegetables are vada pacifying in nature. and or something which is grows underground, like potatoes and all, or rather aggravating in nature. Like what aggravating that all the raw vegetables comes under this thing, and brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, celery, eggplant, leafy greens, lettuce, mushrooms, onions which is raw, and peas, pepper, white potatoes, spinach, sprouts, and tomatoes. So these all things also contributing to the increase of this Vata. So these are all the vegetables that will be aggravating the Vata condition. Already we have seen vegetables which is specifying the Vata conditions. Okay. Namaste and welcome back to part 4 session of nutrition. So according to Ayurveda, consumption of food which is inextricably linked with digestion and and its subsequent functioning or the malfunctioning is a cause of the improper functioning of the digestive system lies in the improper eating habits. Okay, it's nothing but the whole system, the whole balance of the body is completely depends upon the digestion. So whichever imbalance is happening in your system, or whichever disease that you are affected with, whatever happens with your body, the initial concern is about the digestive fire or the digestion. So in whichever level we will be starting the treatments by correcting your digestive fire or the Agni only. And so if we are taking a proper care about our diet from the beginning stage itself, most of the diseases can be prevented, and also the severity of the most of the conditions can be bring back down to zero. So all these possibilities are there with the only with the improving the digestion and improving the quality and quantity of the food that we are intaking. So that's why this is so much of importance, and that's why so much of detailing is given regarding these topics. So improper or imbalanced intelligence of the senses, which gives way to wrong eating habits, serves to upset the all important digestive structure. So we need to control our senses also. Sometimes when we see something, even though our brain knows that it's unhealthy, when we see a grilled chicken, when we see an farm chicken, it looks very nice, texture, spicy and all. Even though our mind or the brain tells us and gives us warning, no, this is unhealthy, but the senses are getting stimulated by the vision and the smell of these things, and we are getting attracted towards that, and we started to do this unhealthy eating habits. So in order to control, in order to have a proper digestive system, we also should know to control our sense organs too. So these unhealthy eating manners triggered by the wrong uses of senses aid to the upset of psychological imbalance also. So there are certain general rules regarding a dietary intake. So when we follow these rules, it will be easy for us to balance the digestive fire. Among them, the first one is food should be taken twice daily is the ideal rule for an average person. Okay, so meals twice per day. Nowadays, most of them are following that only 2 meals per day. We also call it as intermittent fasting. That is considered to be very important, but this was told in Ashtanga Hridayam, which was told in Ashtanga Hridayam. Sorry, I am having the reference here. Ashtanga Hridayam, a chapter which was written around 5000 years ago. Okay. And when it has to be taken, it should be taken in the morning between 9 and 12 o'clock, and in the evening between 7 and 10. So that is the timeline told. It should be taken in the morning between 9 and 12, and in the evening between the 7 and 10 o'clock. So these are the 2 meal time. There is no proper there is no meal in between 12 to 5 or 12 to 7. But there is an exemption for this. The students, the hardworking laborer, and old can those who have excessive physical effort or physical work, or those who are using their brain more than the needed capacity. That also is a kind of a training only. So those who are undergoing this, or those who are using this, they can have a meal more than that. And for those who are, especially those who are undergoing the IT kind of job and all, they don't have anything to do much. They'll be sitting and doing something and attending the calls and everything. So now there is a habit that eating, drinking coffees in between, eating burgers in between, eating pizza, burger, all these kind of unhealthy food habits in between. And those food habits are, those foods are, because there is no physical labor, these foods remain indigested in the system, later turning into a toxic food material called AMA, and later transforming into some major kind of diseases or some other problems in the human body. So, in order to avoid that, basically, if we don't have much kind of hard work, we don't have to input so much of fuel inside our system. We need only limited fueling for our system. So, that can be done. We can only eat 2 meals per day. That is between 7. That means from morning 10 to 12, and also from 7 to 10. So, if maybe for modern food, they should not take food within 3 hours after the last meal. If you have taken the food at 12 o'clock, you are not supposed to eat another meal before before 3. Like 1, 2, 3, 3 hours you have to wait after your last meal before taking anything inside. Not leave without food more than 6 hours, and the stomach should not be empty more than 6 hours. So next one is regard to rules for taking food and pathophysiological changes. Sushruta have also described certain rules for taking the food. According to Sushruta Acharya, the food should be taken before and after the scheduled time, and neither in excess. The food should not be taken before and after the scheduled time, and neither in excess nor in less quantity, because it may give rise to various types of gastrointestinal disorders and ultimately lead to death. So we have to wait until the previous meal is digested, and we have to eat in a moderate quantity. So these are the two things we have to take care. Even though the food is very tasty, very tempting, we have to know our limits and to eat the food. And also, supporting this, the Charaka Acharya also stated that the intelligent man, remembering the many painful diseases and difficulties were arising from the unbalanced diet, always take food that is suitable to him and according to proper measure, and further, he shouldn't eat at proper time and keeping his senses under his control. Okay, so it's all the acharyas mention the same thing, that he has to control his senses and he has to eat a proper time with the proper quantity of the meal. And according to Vagbata Acharya also, the Acharya who has written Ashtanga Hridayam, he said that half the cavity of the stomach is to be filled with a solid food. If you take if you do a circle, half the quantity should be filled with a solid food, and the other half should be, the other quarter portion should be of water, and the remaining part need to be left empty for the vayu to circulate. Okay, half part solid, half part quarter part liquid, then the remaining quarter part we have to leave empty for the free movement of the vayu. So samana vayu is responsible for the digestion. Okay, so these vayu has to be move freely inside the stomach or inside the abdomen, then only it will be easier for the digestion. For that, we need to make some space. So the water to be taken half an hour or after the meal. Always, if you want to gain weight, okay, if you want to gain weight, you are supposed to drink water after your meals. If you want to lose your weight, you want to drink water before your meals. If you want to maintain a proper weight, then you have to eat your water, drink your water along with your meals. This is what we have to do. So it's always better in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. You can do that. You can always drink water along with your meals. That will be the best thing you can do. So what happens if you take it in the just before the meal? If you taken the water just before the meal, it retards the digestion. Okay, then we will not feel empty and has a tendency to make one lean. So what happens after? So that's what I told. After the food, we'll be feeling heavy, and that tends to make an obesity. So hence, a thirsty man should not eat before leaving his thirst, and a hungry one should not drink before taking his food. So now we will again look into some of the qualities of the food. Now let's discuss about, always we will mention that like we need to eat warm foods. So right now we see why we are suggesting a patient or a person to always prefer for the hot meals, right? So one should not take a fresh food and not in hot condition. Sorry, should not, one should take a fresh food and not in hot condition. Here it should be clear that Ushna doesn't mean that is hot. It always means that the quality of the food, but the temperature of the food should be it's like it should be in a warm state, not super hot. And Ushna not refers to the quality of the food, but the temperature of the food. The Ushna Guna, Ushna means hot, Guna means the quality. So this hot quality of the food, why we are suggesting? Because this quality of the food helps in the Vada Anulovana. That means making the Vada going towards, working towards the downward direction. That creates a proper bowel movement. So that always helps to eliminate the waste in a proper way and also eases, support the proper digestion. And also it increases the Panchagagni, that means the digestive power, which in turn helps in the proper digestion of the food taken. So the extreme hot food, it is not advisable. Always should be in a moderate heat or in a warm state. Even extreme cold food should not be taken. Eating the food prepared before a long time also can be avoided. Freshly, you have to cook a food and eat within 2 to 3 hours after cooking. After that, what we believe that every food, when we prepare it, it do have a prana in it. It do have an energy in it, right? So when we keep the food in the refrigerator or when we keep the food after cooking for so long time, this prana is getting depleted from the food. So without prana, it's just like a piece of a paper or whatever it is. It doesn't have that quality of that food anymore. So we have to eat whenever the food has certain prana in it, because that energy is giving us the ojas, is giving us the energy to survive. So this is very important. You have to always prefer the readily cooked food. Should not be kept aside. Most of the working women and even men, what they do that, they will prepare it for the entire day and then keep it in the refrigerator and then go for a work. And when they come back in the evening, what they will do, they just reheat the food items and then will serve. It's very easy because that is more practical too. But what happens, this one, the prana in the food, we lost the prana and the food becomes more of tamasika in nature. That means it becomes more heavy, and tamasic in nature. So when we eat such kind of food, that laziness we are putting inside us, and we'll also become like that, lazy, heavy, and not wish to do anything else. So such kind of change will happen within us also. What happens when we eat freshly cooked meals? They're getting a lot of prana, a lot of good energy. This food is getting digested very fast, and we feel light, and we'll be having that clarity of senses, and also it promotes health. And also, if we eat the food which is not freshly prepared, it can also cause stiffness, loss of digestive fire, loss of taste, nausea, and etc. So the next quality is we are talking about is unctuousness, that we call it as snigdham. Like the food should be always better to be unctuous in nature until or unless you are of too much of kapha, pradibhi or vigadhi. If you are having too much of excess kapha in your system, until or unless if you don't have excess of kapha in the system, most of your food should be unctuous in nature. So this type of food helps in pacifying the vata and also helps to improve the pachakagni, that means the digestive fire. On contrary, that means opposite to that, whenever there is an extreme unctuousness, that means adhisnikthavastha, should not be consumed as well. Both dry and increased unctuousness inhibit the process of digestion. So it should be always a proper moderate unctuousness. Nikthavastha should be during the food. So the next one is the quality is ruksha. It is called as dryness. Okay. So dryness, always we know that dryness, dry air, it increases the vata, which results in hampering the digestive power. Where adhisnikta food is heavy by its own properties and take more time and energy to get digested, resulting in the laziness, anorexia, excessive salivation, etc. So always it should not be too dry, it should not be too heavy, that means too unctuous, or it should not be too light. Okay, it should be in a proper quantity. You have to cook everything with a little bit of oil, that makes it unctuous. And when we select the food, the property of the food should match with the property of us, that means the constitution of the people who is undertaking it. So all these things has to be managed, then only we can call it as a complete diet. Next, we'll be discussing more about matravat, that means the quantity of the food, how it is important and why it is important. Okay, matravat. So, in whichever things it comes, we always have multiple suggestions of different acharyas. When it comes to Ayurveda, we always take the suggestions of Vagbhata Acharya and Charaka Acharya and Sushruta Acharya. So, whichever topic comes, there will be multiple options or suggestions by these acharyas. Okay. So, in addition to these qualities that we were discussing above and the classification of the food, Ayurveda also lays stress over the amount of food which one should take every day. So, Maharshi Charaka has advocated a principle for food and diet. Okay, according to him, one must eat in measure and so always eat in measurements. The measure of the food is determined by the strength of one's own digestive fire. So the quantity of the food, we can say that, oh yeah, for a diabetic patient, we have to give like 10 percentage of carbs and then like 30 percentage of proteins and then 20 percentage of fiber. We can't generalize and give a specific diet to a specific group of people. According to Ayurveda, each individual is different. Each individual has his own doshic balances or the like constitutional changes, and the capacity of the digestive fire is also different in different individuals. So based on that only, the food intake can be determined, and what kind of food they have to eat and how much quantity they have to eat, when they have to eat. Everything has to be determined only after analyzing the gastric fire of the person. So a proper measure of the food taken, it will digest in the time without impairing one's health. The measured diet does not impair one's health but positively promotes like one's strength, complexion, health and always life. So listen to your body, listen to your stomach, listen to your digestive fire and eat accordingly. Not listen to your senses that is like deviating you from the normal path. Hope you are getting my point, because it's a simple thing. According to your fire, according to your acne, eat. Like whatever you feel like eating according to that time. Like it should be fresh, it should be warm, and it should not be too dry and too oily, and something which you are able to digest and is completely fine. So next is we are talking about amatra. That means improper quantity. Okay. Improper quantity of food is also of two types. One is hina and the other one is adhika. One is less quantity and the other one is excess quantity. Okay. So one should not take food too much and too less. Okay. Food should be according to the need of the person. If this principle is not practiced, it leads to various kinds of diseases like indigestion, starting from indigestion and joint pains, nausea feeling, amla pitta, that means gastritis, ulcerative colitis, and every other disease originates from the stomach, so it may lead to formation of many disease conditions. So intake of food after the proper digestion of the previous meal. Jirne ashniya. You have to always eat after the digestion of the previous meal. That means whenever your bowels are clear, you don't have any heaviness on your abdomen, when you feel light and when your senses are very clear and you're not feeling sleepy after eating a meal. So when you have these kind of signs, that means the food that you had intake is undergone a proper digestion. So in that case, you are able to eat your next meal. The diet should be taken only after the proper digestion of the previous meal, that we also told. So for another proper symptoms, like how we will be able to diagnose whether my food is digested, as I already told, clear belching, a kind of enthusiasm when you see your next meal or thinking about your meal. Chitta vegosarvam, that means proper evacuation of the urges happening, and you have a proper hunger, and you also feel a proper thirst, and also a lightness of the body will be there. If the diet is taken irrespective of the above symptoms, okay, what happens? The food lies undigested in the stomach, mixes with the semi-digested ahara rasa, and which is going to provoke all the doshas immediately. So this is considered as a major cause of most of the diseases. So exactly the opposite to this condition, that is, if a person does not consume food even after the digestion of the previous meal, okay, and is also not favorable, what happens? This kala bhojana, that timely eating, timely consuming food is also have an importance. It's not like that, oh, then I can skip my meals, that I can feel healthy, I can lose some weight, I can lose some fat. It's also not like that. Whenever the previous meal is digested, you have to intake the next meal. There's a constantly consuming food. Should be practiced as mentioned by Charaka. He has given importance to that. And the next bigger topic that we need to discuss on this is when we talk about the diet is Viruddha. That means incompatibility of the food. Like something, the milk and the fish need not be mixed together. You might have heard about this term. Virya Aviruddha. That means Viruddha Aharas. Different kind of combination that are not helpful for the body. That is a very big topic. I'll just going through it detail the next session. Only that will be our end topic. We'll wind up with that, the nutrition. Okay. So the diet articles that are opposite to the body elements tend to conflict with the system, and they are termed as Viruddhahara. So we can go in Viruddhahara in detail. So Viruddhahara we can see later. I'm just leaving that topic for the later discussion, and we'll just go through the next thing, that is Ishtadesha and Ishta Sarvobhagarana. That means we have to eat in a place where we have a desired place, that we have, it should be more likable to our mind as well as body, and also we have to eat in a proper and clean the vessels. That is also very important. So to eat in a congenial place, provided with all the necessary apparatus, that means appurtenances, all the utensils is needed for a sound psychological condition during our meals. On the other hand, what happens if there is an unpleasant place and an atmosphere leads to disturbance of mind, which directly influences the function of the body. If you are not happy with the surroundings that you are eating, or if you are eating with the people that you don't like, so all these things have an effect on your body. The place should be clean, hygienic, and should not produce any disturbing emotions like kama. That means the desires. You should not think about anything which is stimulating you during the food. Then you should not be eat in a condition where you are having excessive anger. That means krodha. When you are thinking, having excessive thinking. That's why stress eating is not good for your body. It is not normal eating. When you are so much stressed, you don't know what you are eating, and you can limit the quantity of like the food that you are intaking. It will end up in a limitless intake of the food, and that is going to create the amala, undigested food materials, and later wise some kind of diseases. And whenever you have an extreme fear, you are not supposed to eat during that time, and extreme sadness also, it's not advised. And if you are not in so much of hurry, if you are in so much hurry, you're not supposed to eat during that time. What happens nowadays? Every kid, like in the morning before going to school, everybody is in a hurry. They all want to eat their breakfast in 2 minutes before the school bus arrives, or before the friends leave, before the papa goes, mama goes. The same thing happens with us also. Before coming to work, we need to have the breakfast. If the patients are waiting, just grab it and just run it. It's like a purpose. We are eating just for the purpose of eating that food. Sometimes we even didn't notice what am I eating, like whether it is, what's the taste of it. I don't have time, nobody of us are having time to look into the texture of the food, to know the taste of the food. Nothing we are worried about. We just need to fill our stomach with something, and we need to run for our work. So that is very that's not a good habit and should not be entertained. Eat only if you have time, or else just skip the meal and go and eat whenever you have time. Like while you're working so hard, finally it's all for the money, for the food and for the shelter. So if you don't have enough time to spend, even to look at the texture, the quality, the quantity, and the smell, the taste of the food, what's the need of all these things? Just think about it. And once you come in front of your food, relax, focus on it, eat, know, and understand the benefit of your food. So the food, when eaten with hurry, violates the normal routine, entering into the other route. Also, there are chances of choking happens. So there are other complications also. The unwanted materials like hair, nails, such other things are also can be mixed with the food because we are not focusing attention on that. So some poisonous things can also get inside our body. And not too late. It should not be eaten too late. The persons who eat too slowly naturally tend to eat more. So still that satiety of eating cannot be achieved. So you'll not be feeling fulfilled when you eat like that. The temperature of the food gets altered, that is the hot items become cold if you keep it for a long period of time. So all these factors hamper the acne and the food will not be digested properly. And you are supposed to eat like you're supposed to eat like without talking, laughing, and with a due concentration. The food should be consumed. And the most important point to be considered here, one second. The most important point to be considered here is that the food should be eaten with enough concentration. That's what I told you from the beginning. Eat with know what you are eating. Okay. Taken after paying due regard to oneself, and always think about yourself, how much you can eat, and whether you're hungry. And be thankful to the farmers who has prepared the food for you, and be thankful for every other living beings in this world which might have has been bringing this food before you, and then only you're supposed to eat. One should know his capacity, that how much he can eat, what is good for him, what is bad for him. Considering the factor, one has to decide the quantity and type of the food need to be consumed. On the contrary, if he takes food, whatever he gets, he may not be good for his health. So, whatever seasonally available in and around him can be added into his diet. Okay, it's not that only rice is available for me, I am taking that. It doesn't mean that it is healthy for him, because always it should be a combination of 6 tastes in the meat. All the 6 tastes should be included, like Madhura Rasa, like fruits, like all the 6 tastes should be included. Then only it can be considered as a proper diet. Not only one taste is not recommended. And at the beginning of the meal, you have to start with the sweet rasa. That means something like fruits is advisable to take at the beginning of the meal. Maybe you can start with the amla, that means the gooseberries, and then followed by levana, that means the salt, or sour and salty kind of things in the middle. Okay, start with the sweet, salt and sour in the middle, and kadu tikta kasha, bitter, astringent and pungent taste towards the end of the food. So we can start with either fruits in the beginning, and then with some light spices, that means the curries and the rice, dal or sabjis in the middle, and end it with the astringent taste. Like buttermilk is having a sour and astringent taste, so you can end it with the buttermilk, or something which is bitter or pungent in taste can be added. So yeah, coming back. Coming back to the session, now we are going to look into the dietary recommendation based on the seasonal variations. Okay. So for a long time, people have lived off the land and taken what nature has provided them. Right. So earlier we were living in the forest along with the nature. So nature was providing us what we need during that time. We were eating that. We were living healthy, and we were living long term, and whatnot, everything was well and good. When we moved out of that structure, and even though there are some fruits which was not available in India recently, like all those mangosteen, rambutan, and most of the berries were not commonly available in India before 10 years, not like far. Before 10 years, nothing was available here. But now, whatever fruit you want is available everywhere. Even in small supermarkets, you will get dragon fruit, you will get mangosteen, you will get rambutan, whatever. Whatever is there, you will get everything over there. The mango is basically an Indian African fruit. Now it is available all over the world, that round the clock. That means there is no seasonal variations or differentiations in the availability of any fruits, or everything is available every time, and that's what's creating most of the patients, and that's how this healthcare industries are surviving. Sorry to say that, but these are the reasons. We are the reasons, and we are creating we are making ourselves unhealthy by eating these choices. And according to the seasonal cycle, like we are not earlier, they were eating according to the seasonal cycle. Rather than following a very strict diet plan, Ayurveda is more concerned with ensuring eating right food all the year round rather than the same type of food. When we eat a diet in accordance with the principles of nature, it will be a sensible approach to maintain a positive health. Every seasonal vegetable or fruit has its own unique nutritional benefits which is supposed to be taken during that season. For example, during winter, what happens? Like now we can see in each season which kind of food we need to be preferred and how it helps in improving your digestion. So first we can talk about the winter season. During the winter, the appetite is increased on account of increased gastric fire. Okay. So in winter, you might have gone through the Ritucharya. In Ritucharya, they have told about the doshas chaya pragopa prasara, when it gets when it is vitiated, and what happens when it is moved from this place, and what happens, what are the symptoms, and that during that time or each season, how is the level of your Agni, you might have already learned in the Ritucharya session. So in winter, the appetite is increased on account of this increased gastric fire due to the flow of blood to the internal organs. Hence, one take so it will be more convenient to take a lot of ghee along with sugar and wheat, also with rice. So something which is heavy and make you pacify or satisfied. And you can also do some massages and occasionally a sun bath. Avoid cold drinks and during the season, and restricted diet like pungent, bitter and astringent and articles when one is quite healthy. So what happens? So these are all the things for the winter, and during the spring season, what happens means after the winter, what happens? The sun rays become more hot. Then the spring comes, and the heat liquefies the toxic matter which is accumulated in one's own body. That's why the people suffer from cold, fever, the allergic, the hay fever, and all mostly happen in the spring season. Everything. Hence, the eliminative procedure is useful. Avoid free use of sugar and fats and oils, and add more of pungent, bitter, astringent, and alkaline kind of food into your diet. The physical exercises are most beneficial in this time. And after that, after the spring, the summer comes, and what happens during the summer? The increased heat of the sun dries up the body fluid, hence the foods. So there is increased heat in the climate, and we all know it ends up in the dehydration. Hence the foods and drinks which is cool and sweet and liquid in form and unsures are good. The ghee, milk, buttermilk, sugarcane juice, old rice, old wheat, because all those old everything means it's become a little bit of unctuous and heavy and become more sweet in nature. That's why everything which is old has been specified, are preferred. And what happens in the rainy season? Okay, so when your digestive power is weakened after the summer, when it enters into the rainy season, your digestive power is actually less. Hence, the moderate quantity of the food is preferred. Honey is very useful during this time. Avoid very watery and like demulcent drinks. Day sleep and sunbath is should be avoided during this time. And more warm, hot drinks like some herbal teas or soups is recommended. and the warm, freshly prepared food, warm food is mostly recommended, and in lesser quantity will be good. And what happens during the autumn? So in the autumn season, after the rain, heat is increased. Like after the rain, probably the heat is more, and so then we have to balance it with the ghee. With some bitter articles are very good, and good exposure to sun is recommended. And also something like which is very soothing in nature can be taken. So, every food which is little bit oily with ghee or something, some unctuous food articles, or any salads which is salted with an olive oil or something which do have a snigdhata, something which have unctuousness in the top is very good during this season. Okay. So finally, the only left topic is Viruddhahara. That we'll take as a separate session because it's a little bit more important topic and cannot be tell as it is. So far, what are the things we have covered and all, we'll just go at a glance. Basically, Ahara Vidhi Vidhana, that means the nutrition is equally important as diet. Means this Vidhi means the rules of intake of food is very much important as diet in maintenance of health and prevention of diseases. Regarding all the rules of diet intake, an optimistic way of thinking and application should be always adopted. Even the food which is heated again and again, it is not good for health and it is considered as an improper usage. Like the stale food or the food of previous day is same like something which need to be discarded. Basically, none of us should have refrigerator back at home. If we don't have a refrigerator, we can't save the leftover food and we don't have to go through all these things, right? So initially throw out the refrigerators from out of your home so that you are forced to prepare the food each and every time, and that makes us more healthy. But unfortunately, we are in a world where we are not we can't depend upon all those things, and we have to compromise on so many things. Sadly, this compromise that we do with our health only. Okay. So basically, no refrigerated food at all. So we don't need a refrigerator at home at all. So it's improper usage of the food, like the fast food, which is added with more of preservatives, and the tiffin carriers, which is filled at the morning, are also the improper usage because you pack that in the home state in the morning, and by the time you eat it in the lunch, it is more than 3 hours after you prepared the food, and it has already lost the prana in it. So that is also not considered as a healthy way and improper usage. So people who are carrying the tiffin to their working places usually prefer dry fruit for the convenience to carry. To swallow this food, extra water is needed during the meals, which hampers the agni and dilutes the digestive secretions and prepares the soil for many other diseases. So, with all those things, while we conclude these discussions, and the most important principle is that the food should not only be nutritious from the physical standpoint, but it should be such as would develop from an intellectual and the spiritual aspects of man. The good smell of the food, as well as the place, excites the salivation, as well as the secretion of the digestive juice. Both ahara and ahara vidhi vidhana, that means food as well as the rules of intake of food, are very helpful in getting a good health and prevention of diseases. Ahara is like it's also a kind of a treatment. We call it as the diet. Why it is so much important? It's a kind of a dravya bhuta chikitsa. It is a treatment with the dravyas, with the food items. Whereas the ahara, the rules of intake, it's like adravya bhuta chikitsa. That means a treatment without a item but with the rules. So thus both the diet and the dietary rules are equally important. So the proper utilization of both maintains a healthy condition. On contrary, improper utilization also leads to various diseases in our body. So in total, one should properly take food by following all the dietary rules then only one can think of a good and healthy lifestyle. So these are all the things that we have covered so far in the session, except the Viruddhahara that will be going in detail, just going back in and just like giving you some stands what are the things we have covered, just brushing up the things. Like we have been discussing about the specific considerations of the dietary intake, where we have talked about the Prakriti, Karana, Samyoga, Rashi, Desha, Kala, Upayoga Samstha and Upayokta. That means describing about the natural qualities of the food and how the food is processed is very important, and the combination of food is important, the quantity is important, and where it is formed and how it is, like which time kala we are taking the food, that is also important. Upayoga Samstha, that means dietary rules, and Upayokta, the person who is taking the food, that means he also should think about the food and should be happy about the food. So all those terms we have explained in the previous sessions, and also the importance of 6 states and their effect on the doshas that we have gone, like which states can increase or decrease the which dosha, and examples for those states has been explained, and how to maintain an equilibrium, doshic equilibrium through the diet we have talked. And then we had a session on the different kinds of food, that means the fruit, seeds, vegetables, grains and all, like which doshas it is increasing, which is aggravating, which is alleviating, and which should be good for it, and all those things we have been discussed. And regarding the 6 major qualities of the food that we have discussed, like heavy, light, oily, dry, hot and cold, these 6 qualities we have been discussed. And we have also gone through selection of food according to the prakriti of a person. That means Vata prakriti person should choose this type of food, Pitta prakriti person should choose this type, and Kapha prakriti person should choose this type of food. That also we have undergone. And then we came to the general rules of food intake, where we have discussed about like eat according to your digestive capacity, eat after the digestion of your previous meal, and eat in a pleasant place. Like so much of rules we have been discussed, and then we were discussing about the quantity of the food, like how much quantity of food we have to take, and when to take this food. All of those things we have been discussed. And all the rules, and then finally we have been talking about the dietary recommendations based on the seasonal variations that you have to get in connect with the Ritucharya classes, and then the dietary rules, so you will get a proper idea. Always consider which dosha is aggravated during that season, so which kind of food need to be selected so that this dosha aggravation can be controlled to a certain extent. So in this way you need to think and decide your diet accordingly. And yeah, that's what all we have decided. The one thing which we have left is Viruddhahara, that will be completing in the further sections. And it's very simple when we come into nutrition or diet. It's very simple from the beginning. I'm telling you, on just listen to your body, just listen to your stomach. Just listen to your dietitian. If you have a burp, if you feel bloated after a meal, that means it is heavy for you. If you still have a food taste even after 3 to 4 hours after digestion, that means you are not able to digest the quantity of the food. Then reduce the quantity of the food, minimize the intake of food. If you are feeling so much of bloated feeling and so much of burpings after the food, that means that quantity of food is not enough. You need to add a little bit more quantity, because you are digesting it very fast and the gas is filling your stomach. And like that, and also try to drink warm water in between. Like the hot water is like a fuel for the digestive fire. It always helps to light up the digestive fire from within. That is also very good. So these are the simple things. Eat whenever you are hungry, and do not wait for anything. Like let me finish this and then eat, let me do that and then eat. Do not wait for that. Listen to your body, eat when you feel healthy, and also create a pattern. And also create a pattern of eating, like breakfast before this time, lunch before this time, dinner before this time, or if you're comfortable with 2 meals per day, go with that. Okay, hope the session was useful to you, and we'll be meeting again with a Viridahara session. Thank you.